Most people picture a criminal justice agency as a rigid, top-down hierarchy, but on the ground, operations run on a dynamic network of human influence. Welcome to Module 5 of Administration of Justice 220. This week marks a transition point. In Modules 1 through 4, we built a foundation of individual ethics. For Modules 5 through 8, we are crossing over to study leadership. The syllabus separates these topics to make them easier to study, but in the field of criminal justice, they never operate independently. A leader's ethical baseline drives every command they issue. Before we go further, we need to discard a pervasive law enforcement misconception. Leadership is not defined by the rank on a uniform. Stripes, bars, and stars represent a pay grade, but they do not guarantee the ability to lead. For this course, we define leadership as the active process of influencing others toward shared goals. This process applies to you regardless of your formal position on the organizational chart. Mastering this mechanism of influence is an essential survival skill. Relying solely on the badge will only go so far when navigating the realities of a complex agency. Traditionally, criminal justice agencies handled ethics by having recruits recite a static code of conduct and sign an acknowledgement form on their first day. This passive approach checks a liability box, but it rarely survives contact with a chaotic, high-stakes street encounter. What actually works is scenario-based training combined with guided reflection. Placing an officer in a simulated high-stress scenario forces them to make active choices. Making a mistake in a simulator and then verbally unpacking why that mistake happened builds mental muscle memory that a classroom lecture cannot produce. This graphic illustrates Kohlberg's stages of moral development, which we covered in Module 2. Practicing active decision-making moves an officer up from the bottom tier of simple obedience into higher-level principled conscience. An ethical framework is only valuable if you have stress-tested and internalized those principles long before a real crisis hits. Understanding influence requires separating management from leadership. In policing, management is the process of planning, organizing, and controlling resources efficiently to keep operations running smoothly. Leadership, by contrast, is the act of setting a vision and inspiring human commitment to execute that vision. This matrix visualizes a critical operational reality. An agency can have balanced budgets, pristine equipment, and flawless schedules, yet still be well managed on paper while being poorly led in practice. Conversely, you can witness pure leadership without any management authority at all. Think of a field training officer. They don't manage the department's budget, but they actively shape a working's daily habits, tactical survival, and entire approach to the job. Management sustains the physical resources. Leadership dictates the actual operational culture. 5 leadership components. First, vision. A commander outlining a crime reduction strategy. Second, influence, convincing a colleague to seek help. Third, accountability, a supervisor immediately correcting a minor violation. Fourth, adaptability, altering a perimeter mid-pursuit. Finally, development, teaching a rookie emotional regulation. These 5 components are a universal toolkit. Any professional can apply them to improve their unit, regardless of their position in the chain of command. To see how leadership decisions program an entire organization's behavior, consider this scenario. A highly productive, well-liked sergeant is caught falsifying a minor detail on an overtime report. The chief's decision splits into 3 signaling paths. A lenient response teaches that rules are flexible for top performers. A harsh response shows the administration is vindictive, encouraging personnel to hide mistakes. A fair, consistent response proves accountability is absolute, but proportional. Agency culture is not dictated by what is written in the policy manual. It is built by these exact, observable administrative decisions made under pressure. This brings us to a crucial distinction: authority versus power. Authority is the formally granted right to direct others. It comes with holding a specific rank or wearing a supervisor's badge. Power is the actual capacity to influence. You cannot be appointed to it. You earn it through tactical expertise, demonstrating strong character, building established relationships, and providing accurate information. Attempting to lead using only formal authority without possessing genuine power produces brittle, temporary compliance. Subordinates will follow orders while you are watching, but abandon them the moment you leave. Let's look at this organizational chart during a roll call briefing. A supervisor with formal authority introduces a new policy, but notice the bottom tier box. This represents a 22-year veteran officer with no rank who visibly displays skepticism toward the new rules. Because that veteran holds deep informal power, his single reaction actively slows the adoption of the policy across the entire shift. His earned influence overrides the supervisor's formal authority. Unrecognized informal power that runs counter to agency goals is one of the most severe liabilities a formal leader will ever face. To summarize, ethics drives the individual, but influence drives the agency. Rank provides authority, but your character and expertise generate your actual power. Your next step in Module 5 is to proceed to the discussion board. This week's assignment requires you to research and present one historical example of ethical leadership and one example of unethical leadership. Under the course AI policy, generative AI tools are permitted to assist you in this historical research phase. However, you are strictly required to manually verify every factual claim those tools provide, and you must explicitly disclose your AI use in your final submission. The practice of ethical leadership begins directly with your own academic integrity and accountability.